So I recently completed this watercolor of my dog Madeline, and I'm really happy with how it came out. So I'm going to give it another shot today. I'm going to be doing a little painting of my dog Luke. But before we start, I'll talk about the materials that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to be using this Fluid 100 cold press finish watercolor paper. It's 9 by 12. I'm actually going to be cutting this sheet in half. I'm going to be using my Faber-Castell. This is 5H. And then I've got my watercolor brushes. This is not a brand, and it does have a size. I think it's a 7 or an 8. This is a size 4. So I'm mainly going to be using these two round brushes, and then you'll see an appearance from this flat brush, which is a wash brush. My kneaded eraser, sponge, a paper towel, a spray bottle, and my watercolor paints. These are all Winsor Newton watercolors. And my little tray. I have 2 trays that I'll be using. This is the reference photo I'll be using. This is my buddy Luke. He's a pit bull. He's also a giant teddy bear. And unfortunately, he passed away last year at the age of 14. But yeah, so let's get started. So I have a good idea of where this is going to go on the page. And to start, I'll just make a few reference points for the top, the bottom, the sides. And these marks will set the parameters that I will need to stay within moving forward. You'll notice that I'm predominantly going to be using just straight lines in the beginning. This is just to keep it as simple as possible. There's no need to make this, any more difficult than it has to be. So let's keep it simple. Pitties tend to have a boxy head anyway, so even if this was something that had a lot of curves in it, I would still keep the line straight in the beginning. Want it to be nice and easy and as simple as possible. Okay, that's a pretty good outline. So now I can start putting in some of the details. We'll start with the eyes, and I'm just gonna again make some reference lines for the top and the bottom of the eyes, the sides. We'll do the same thing with the nose and the shape of the mouth. Again, straight lines, nice and simple. Just do a little square here for a nostril. We'll do a line over here for the other nostril. And we'll just follow this down the snout to the mouth. Constantly looking back and forth between my reference photo and the paper. Then we'll move up to the eyes. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on the eyes. I'm not going to get crazy with the detail, just making reference marks. Still using straight lines, but I'm going to spend a little bit more time here. I'll spend a little bit more time in the painting as well. Still want the overall feel to be loose, but there are certain places where details are going to be important, and in this case the it's going to be the eyes for sure. So here I'm just going to check my distances, make sure everything is lining up correct. I want to make sure that where the ear attaches to the head is in the right place. Alright, so now I'm going to stop talking and try to wrap up this little drawing. Okay, I think I'm getting to a point where I should stop. I definitely can overwork this, and I just don't need to do one little last line there. I'm gonna get my kneaded eraser and take out these reference marks for the eyes right here in the center of the head. That's going to be a fairly light spot on the final painting, and I just don't want those lines to show up. Okay, I've zoomed in a little bit here for the painting part, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get that wash brush, that flat brush, and dip it in some clean water, and I'm just going to wet this paper down. The paper is 100% cotton, and I want those cotton fibers to start to absorb some of this water, and it will have the paper ready to receive the pigment. I want this to be pretty loose in the beginning. I'm going to work as quickly as I can. I'm going to start with an underpainting. I'm going to use a Viridian green. I started using a green undertone years ago with figure painting, and it just has this amazing quality as an underpainting. I'm predominantly going to be using it here in the areas that are darkest, so around the eyes, the nose, the muzzle, on his collar, the tips of his ears. And as you can see, the paper is pretty wet, so it's absorbing in and bleeding out. I want this to be loose, to have a loose feeling, still kind of just making reference points with these marks. Got a little too much water there. I'm going to pick that up with the brush. I'm just going to dry the brush, and it'll suck that water right up. So again, just the dark places. I think we can put down some lighter tones in the other areas. Here I'm using it's a cad yellow. I think think there might be a little bit of yellow ochre in there. And lots of water. And quickly and loosely, just going to put down a base. This is going to have many layers in it, and I'm going to be working quickly. I'm not going to be using white or black. The white just seems kind of pointless, plus I can use the paper as a white. Just have to plan ahead. And the black is, I have a black, it tends to flatten the work out. So through layering of multiple colors and mixing paints, I'll try to achieve a black that way. So here, got burnt umber, a little bit of cad red. To come up with some of these midtones. And again, moving quickly, trying to stay loose. My oil paintings are pretty tight and extremely detailed, and I don't want to get bogged down in that habit of just spending tons of time on one area. I want to be free and loose with how I'm applying the paint. So again, really working these areas that are eventually going to be dark and building up those layers. So one of the habits that I've picked up since I started watercolor painting is if I see a color anywhere in my reference photo, I'm going to put it down. And here I'm picking up some ultramarine blue. I see a little bit of blue down here in the muzzle. So not only am I going to put it in the spot that I saw it, but I'm kind of going to cover and encompass an entire area. This blue is also going to help me achieve that eventual black that I want. It's also great for adding a little bit of depth through shading. So towards the bottom of the neck and the collar, I'm going to add a little bit more down there, just to start to add some form. I picked up my little brush. So again, this is it's like a size 4, and I'm just going to go in and rework around the eyes. I'm starting to lose some of my reference lines, and I just want to re-emphasize those. Okay, let's lock down these midtones.